No? Happy to keep going. Cool. So I've given out this checklist. It's really useful. It comes from a publication in Nature Methods called Community Develops Checklists for Publishing Images and Image Analysis. So there's actually other checklists in the publication for like pipelines of have you got data that's shareable, things like that. So it comes out of a group called 4F, which I'm a member of. It's quality assessment and reproducibility for instruments and images in life. It's about 14 working groups represented by people from all around the world, developing protocols, methods, metadata, standards, all things like all the board stuff. So a lot of what I'm saying is not just me being my own drum, it's actually like this is what the community says is a requirement. Now, how does that relate to you? Well, as this community is quite big for the books, more and more journals are adopting for community standards for publication. So following the checklist will mean that on Friday afternoon, you're submitting a paper finally, and if it hasn't followed this guideline, you can confidently go, yes, and not go, what the hell is that? This is what I'm talking about, what I believe. It isn't the only guideline. There are other publications that say these are things that are required. We'll talk about that coming up. But yeah, I just wanted to say that this is the way microscopy publications are going. These rules. You're not going to be allowed to publish like you're doing anything. It's just so get a copy of the checklist. That's the publication, and I've printed it and I've got some cardstock, so hopefully it'll last more than a few weeks. So when you start making your figures and your publication, you want to be organized. You want to have kind of like a folder structure where you have like all the data for figure one. Now, when I say all the data, I mean a copy of the raw data, a copy of the process data. So if you've got a Z-stack and you map the Z-stack, you should have the Z-stack and the raw, and then have them map together. And then if you've recolored it, all of those steps you should have stored as well. If you make props or an inset to have like a blow-up area, you should store that by using Fiji, like save that ROI. So that if you present the figure and the group leader says to you, it's fine, I just take that image, you can go and reproduce it really easily because you know what size prop and all that. You should, if you came along to the macro workshop, or in Fiji, the macro reporter, when you're making your figure, if you have that running, you'll have all the steps that you did. So you can reproduce. You can say, in the image, we did a crop, then I changed the blue channel to be cyan, and I changed brightness to be this. That will all be stored in plain text. So you can come to any of your facility staff and say, what does this mean? I need to redo it again. This new help you with that. That's pretty obvious. So you have like a data structure for all your figures. You're not going to remake up, overfill an RDA by making the figure. Have an extra copy of the data. Read and look up the author instructions for the paper or journal that is likely to target the group publishes in. Because they have different rules. And it will help dictate them on the side. Now, I'll preface this by saying most groups now throwing up their stuff on via archive, which doesn't have any kind of startup, or pretty minimal startups, which is required. Change in universities and publishing and all that information. So it's going to be slow. But for now, most of the journals still have very strict rules on things, like how many figures you can put in the publication. You're not going to put 30 figures in the next. They weren't about. How big the figures are. Are they whole page width? Are they one column width? Are they half page heights? A lot of them have rules around that. A lot of them have rules around, is it ABC? Is it 1, 2, 3? Roman numerals, Arabic numerals, things like that. What fonts, as I mentioned earlier, scale bars, grayscale or colors, and what lookup tables are allowed. What kind of symbols are allowed? You can't compute anything. That amount. So have a read. Here, I collated Nature, Science, Journal of Cell Biology, and this is JCS, but it's the company for biology. Yeah, well, the development, cell science, things like that. So maximum width of figures, well, they're pretty much all the same. The height is mostly the same. Science don't have a maximum height. I assume that is. Okay. They all require scale bars. Not surprised. That's a core thing as well. It says you have to scale. What's the smallest font that you can get away with? Well, for the first three, it's 5, but for cell science, it's 8. You have to take that into consideration. They have recommended fonts. So, you know, it saves time if you can start by using these ones. Interestingly, the color space, science still suggests that you submit with the CMYK color. Exists. The rest are all articles. We'll talk about things up in Illustrator and things like that. Yep. And they all are 300 dpi. So that's the hard to do. Not surprised. What I'd also recommend is look at, you know, if you're a zebra-fish lab, look at a zebra-fish publication, you're aiming to be like in ELI. See what kind of passes the grade that the ELI reviewers and what the editors. If you're aiming for, you know, Journal of Cell Biology, have a look at what maybe your lab published before, or what other people in the field are doing. What layouts work for time series? You know, do people start often with these explanatory diagrams for every figure or not? What lookup tables might be this for specific for the year time? It's really strict lookup tables. Does the journal allow you to have like figure 1, figure 2 video? Or is videos all relegated to supplementary data? And you still have to put in like time series panels in the figure. They're all things to think about. I'd suggest having a read of blogs like Focal Plane, Twitter and X, LinkedIn, a lot of editors and things like that write little tutorials on, you know, we like anything that looks like this. Well, let them get out to review a lot of years ago. And if you submit something with stuff they don't like. Again, going back to that nature figure guide, they have a bunch of kind of determined layouts for how many elements you can have, and you know, whether they're half or 1 column width, 2 column width, things like that. So have a look for these things if you're aiming for it. Now, I will say as well that the big journals like that often have copy editors that will help tweak a lot of the different people and help remake figures, but it does mean that when you submit them, you often have to submit the figures at all separate panels to the around time. So think about your artboard kind of layout that you're going to be doing for your figures. Now, hopefully there's like more people at the moment, right in the thick of it. But you know, you should know that I figure 1's going to have schematic, and then we did that big experiment on the screen, so I can put all those kind of data in. How are you going to fit it all on page? Where's each stuff going to go? Do you need insets? Do you not? There are graphs. Try to get as much information with as minimal blank space. You don't want 4 layouts, so there's lots of blank space.